హలో
హలో
చెప్పమలాద్రే
అదే మనం మళ్ళీ పర్సనల్ కాంటాక్ట్
కాల్ లేదు
కాల్ లేదు.
మొబైల్ కాంటాక్ట్ నెంబరా
జస్ట్ పింక్ చేయండి, పింక్ చేస్తాను అది పింక్ చేయండి, పింక్ చేయాలి, హాయ్ చేయాలి.
హాయ్ బ్రో.
హాయ్ హరి.
హలో. తేమను పప్పేం వద్దు, అయితే పప్పేం వద్దు, ఒక 2 చపాతీలు దగ్గర లేదు పొడిదేమో పిల్లికి నిద్రపోతే అందులో. Sì, cuma
Hi,
Hello.
sir.
Very good morning.
Yeah, morning. Yeah, morning. I hope everybody have received all those recordings which I have sent you yesterday.
Yes, sir.
One more point to keep in your mind from now on is whatever files I'm sending you for everyday session report, you download it on the same day. Okay, and keep it offline with you. Why? Because when I clear my email, all those files are not able to access from your side. Clear?
Okay.
Same day, same time, you have to download. Every day I have to get from here. A lot of attachments. So if I have email quota, then I have to Yes, anybody else is restricted? Only your forward here, One more guy is missing. Well, anyway, anybody have gone through with those recordings? Any queries? Shared my screen. So ask me, do you have any queries related to the price structure? Or it's quite clear till what we have discussed?
So I need to get in a hands on it, but whatever you have been said, it was so clear. I need to do hands on.
Okay. What about server and still problem or got rectified?
No, sir. Today it has been resolved.
Okay. You are able to log in.
Yes, sir.
Fine. No. Let's proceed towards our second pillar. That is general ledger structure. Okay. As I told you, let's put this on record.
The recording has started.
Okay, successful completion of enterprise structure. Then this is the second structure, that is general ledger structure. And this also comes under basic configuration or enterprise console. So the first point in general ledger structure is creation of chart of account. Okay, I'm writing in short form models. Chart of account. And next, you have to assign chart of account to company code. That means every company code, every company, every unit, every business is having their own requirement of account. Okay, like we have discussed on that day also, like various type of accounts for various type of business, like for trading different, non-trading different, right? So depends on structure, you have to assign it to a specific company. The next is define account group. That define each account and define tolerance group. For GL, that is general ledger, then define, say, tolerance for employees. Okay. So these are those points which comes under general ledger structure, probably your second foundation settings. Now, each and every point have its own importance in configuration. You have to understand the hierarchy, as I gave you an example yesterday, right? Everything is connected to the company code is connected with company is under client, right? I hope yesterday I gave you a hierarchy and that must be very clear. In that hierarchy I have mentioned this chart of accounts. Okay. So when we are assigning everything to the company code, why? Because when you post a transaction, the transaction is specific to company code. So all those settings, whatever you are doing, all those changes, whatever you are doing, that is at company code. And it is not like every setting belongs to company code. Some settings are at company level also. Client level setting is different, company code level setting is different. As and when discussion goes on for future, I'll let you know these settings belong to company code level and these are those settings which are above company code level. That is at client level. Okay, that when the setting is done at client level, that is very much common for all company code. Remember this, no matter whether they are 30 company codes or 35 or 40 company codes. Okay, so now the first point here, that color is chart of it. Any idea about what is chart of it? Is anybody? Is there any idea of chart? What is chart of it? Smaller and good. This familiarity, you are the user, right? If you have any idea what is chart of it? Today we'll go only for explanation, then on Monday we'll implement this in a series. Okay. Now let me know what is chart of it. Any views or opinions or any answers from your side or any points which you would like to keep in front of everybody. An idea? So basically when you Google about this chart of accounts, Google says list of accounts is known as chart of accounts. What is this? List of accounts. Okay, that's theoretical concept. But as far as the practical is concerned, this chart of accounts is nothing but a name which is given to a structure of accounts. You can Google. Google says chart of accounts is nothing but list of accounts. Okay, I'm sorry to criticize that answer. Why? Because that is far from reality. What is reality? I told you guys that it's a name which is given to a structure of accounts. Got it or not? Now why I'm saying this, let me justify my idea. There are two types of accounts, right? One is trade, another one is non-trade. Got it? Do you agree on it? One is service sector, another one is trade sector. Now for trading you prepare P&L account. Now for non-trading you prepare income and expenditure account. Got it? But the target for both is preparation of balance sheet. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now you can see here is the difference. The results of P&L account will be in net profit or net loss. The result of income and expenditure is nothing but excess of income over expense or excess of expenses over income. But the final statement will be balance sheet. Okay, once balance sheet it shows the status of a company. Now whether to run this business or whether to stop this business, whether to invest it further or not. Okay, so the decisions are made based on these reports. Okay, now as I said, chart of accounts is name which is given to a structure of accounts. So whether it is a trading sector or a service sector. Now have you ever heard about that service accounts is used in trading accounts? No. The expenses are different, the activities are different. Got it? Why there is no purchase and sales in services? Yes? Are you getting my question? Anybody out of the entire
Yeah,
team?
we are not doing any purchasing or sales and activities in service sector.
Suppose I'm an actor. I'm purchasing acting and I'm selling acting. Is it possible? No. So in service, that's the reason there is no trading account. That directly they will prepare income and expenses, right? Whereas the trading is concerned, even trading is included in P&L. This is how international reporting is done. Okay. So what I'm saying is, chart of accounts is nothing but a name which is given to a structure of it. Just a name. Of course, under this chart of accounts, you are going to create account groups. Under account groups, you are going to create ledgers. Very soon, after the explanation of all these points, we'll be able to justify why I called this chart of account as structure of account. So I hope that's quite clear. Now, that was a general discussion about chart of accounts. Now, moving further, how you are going to create this chart of accounts in SAP. Again, this is for character. Got it? In yesterday's hierarchy, I already kept this linked with company code, right? So when it is 4 character, what I'll do, I'll go with RATF. So this will be the name of 4 character which I'm advising my client for Reliance Telecom. Okay? Now, these are the 4 character code which I'm going to create for chart of accounts. Now, the second most important thing here is the language in which you are about to maintain your account. Obviously, it's English because we are not aware of the languages, and there is no rural languages which we usually speak in India is available with SAP. How many languages that SAP supports for? I told you on the day one, right? How many languages SAP supports right now?
More than
40 plus, right? 40 plus, right? You have seen on that day.
Yeah.
Seen on that day.
It is 40
Okay.
plus.
Now, at the time of creation, at the time of creation of chart of account, system will ask you about the 4 character code and a description of language. One more field is here in chart of account form that is known as length of GL. Length of GL. Now this is permitted up to 10 characters. Less than 10 is okay. More than 10 is not accepted. Now what is the meaning of character here? See, you might have gone through with multiple applications even years of experience like Tally, Oracle, PeopleSoft, ADF Works, ERPs, non-ERPs, customized applications. I don't know from which company's background or from which line of business you people are coming from. No matter whatever the category of business, but every company have their own choice of application. Right? Some companies are a fan of SAP and some companies follow Oracle and some companies may use Microsoft Dynamics or some companies may go for PeopleSoft, ADF Works or other tailor-made or customized applications. Remember one point here is there are 2 ways to maintain account. As far as the Indian treasury is concerned, Indian accounting is concerned, we usually write down the text. Suppose if I want to create one ledger like rent account, I will write down the name into a text like rent account or salary account. This is how I will create it. Correct? You might have seen this. Finance account, petrol expenses account, office expenses account, stationery, postages, traveling expenses, transportation, right? Purchase, sale, what all ledgers you know. Ledgers are nothing but basically account, right? So we will create as a text. But when it comes to ERP, the world of ERP, they used to follow some code-based accounting. On that code-based account, that means every account is known with code, numeric code. Now that code I'm saying, whether it is 1 character or 10 characters, known with a code-based accounting. Is the first choice is code-less accounting, where text is used to create ledger. The second option, you have to go for some numbers. So what is this? 400 101, the rent account. 400 102, this is my salary account.
Salary.
10 rent, 104 office expenses, 105 traveling expenses. So whatever accounts you are going to create in here, I'm not specific to SAP. Even if you go for Oracle or Microsoft Dynamics or any other ERP, so-called ERP, or international accounting is based on code. So these codes represents your ledgers. Remember that. Is it clear? So at the time of creation of chart of accounts, you have to mention that what will be the length of that code. So here I have taken 6. Suppose at the time of creation of RETL, I have selected the length as 6 characters. So now that series and all will decide here. Don't worry about this. This will get clarified into your third point. Now after that third point, you will be able to design any solution for any global client. That's for sure. Okay. So the example which I have taken here is 6 characters. If it was somewhere around 8 characters or 10 characters, how it looks like. I'll go with right. So now 10. If it was 10 character codes, have you got it? And last I have taken 101. Rest all zeros. The series is starting with 4. Is it clear? So now I took 6 character, and this 6 character is the most common used length in implementation across the world. But some foreign countries, especially like US, UK, Brazil, and Sweden, Italy, all those countries, clients who are coming forward may select 10 characters. No matter they only use last 3 digits or last 4 digits, they always go for 10 characters. And if you are not able to make it uniform selection, at the time of reporting, the view of report may be like zigzag. So I tell you what's that when it comes to reporting. Okay, so I hope this bit explanation for chart of account is quite clear. Now the next point here is, when you configure your chart of accounts, you have to assign it to company code. So what's my chart of accounts here? Are you here? Okay. To which company code I have to assign this? So this is what the reason I told you to keep it as same. Wherever 4 character is required to configure, same, keep it same as company code. Why? Because the very next step for you guys as a consultant is to assign it to the company code. Clear? I'm not fixing it to go for only for alpha. You have a choice of alpha, numeric, and alpha numeric. Clear? Okay. So this was your second point. And the third point is, an account group. What's that account group? What is account group? Any idea? It's account group. Differently under account quality. See, keeping always silent or being always in silent mode doesn't make the team to think about you some good answers. Always take part in a discussion, whether it is wrong or right, no problem. Please come forward for a discussion. Don't just be silent. This is not an independent state speech. I want everybody to be in discussion, so that you can come up and it's a kind of live practice. How you're going to interact with your manager, how you're going to interact with the team. Is it the same way of behavior which you are going to do with your team also? That means very soon you will be on bench. Remember that. Now on bench in the sense, very soon you will get retired also. Don't mind my lines, please. Please come forward. Yes, one by one. This is simple accounting question which I have raised in front of you. And don't mind this is not your interview.
So group of similar accounts.
One by one, please. One by one. Okay. Yes, Maria, you go ahead and look.
Yes, like accounting group and ledger, general entry, bookkeeping, subsidiary book.
I asked about India, you're talking about Sri Lanka. Okay? That's not my question. Yes.
Sir, group of similar accounts.
See, it is we are creating separate for expenses, income,
Yeah.
asset and liabilities.
Correct. Yes. Correct. Any other blanks? Any other opinions or views? Any other answers?
Group of similar accounts. So like for sales and all, we'll put one separate record, and for each and every.
Why need group? That was my from. This is separate question from SAP. This is not related to SAP. This is an accounting question.
Sir, for the end user to make it clear all the time.
Hari, I don't know. Your mic is not appearing on.
Sir, for the end user to make look clear.
I haven't cleared. Right grouping is quite important.
Sir, for making the transactions clear for the end user.
So as my understanding,
Yes, Rajesh.
sir, it is accounting group means so we are creating for expenses on accounting group. Under what is the expenses we have created, it will come under that range only. It will come under account expenses.
But see, it's very simple. Is it easy to imagine a balance sheet without groups? Like you might have seen balance sheet in horizontal format and vertical format. Balance sheet is always divided into groups. Like fixed assets separate, current assets separate, other assets separate. Long-term liability, short-term liability, other liability. Imagine you are mixing everything, current asset, fixed asset, and preparing a balance sheet. Do you think that is acceptable? No. This is against the schedule. This is against the business. Similarly, expenses and income categories. Two types of expense, two types of income, direct and indirect. Correct? So grouping helps you to make a separate reporting for that particular activity. Okay. The most important part of accounting group is it helps you to prepare a report based on a specific category. Correct? Until unless grouping is done, no category. How will you know? And now let me ask you a question. Wages and salary both are things? Why wages is considered into a trading account and why salary is shown in P&L account? Have you ever thought of that? Both are expenses, but one is direct and another one is indirect. I hope it is understood. So, accounting groups, no matter whether it is any part of the globe, any company, okay, their account group falls under this category. First is assets, liabilities, okay, the second one, third one is income, fourth one is expenses. Now, these are the groups, the most common groups. Under this, a lot of subgroups are there. Some companies may go for 23 groups, some may have 20 groups, some have only 50. Based on their requirements, they'll create the groups and they'll prepare the report. Okay, I hope you got this. Now, how to decide the coding for your ledgers? Now, in configuration of chart accounts, you can decide that what will be the length of code which you are about to create for series. Right? So here you have some series. Like here for expenses I have taken a series starting from 4. So you can decide what will be the series for assets. Suppose for me assets I'm taking it as 2, liability I'm taking it as 1, income 3 and expense 4. Now this will be my series, the most common series which is used in implementation, and it is not fixed. If you want, you can shuffle down. You can keep 2 as income, 3 as assets. 1 as expense and 4 as liability. Your choice. Okay. Now let's now configure the group and the length of group or range of groups. Like I said, if I have selected 6-character code, now my first group under fixed asset asset is fixed asset. Now fixed asset, how the series is starting with 2. Now it's like 200, 21, 000, 2 lakh 2, 2 lakh 100. That means how many fixed assets I can configure here? 100 fixed assets.
100.
100, right? Now what are the fixed assets? What are those fixed assets?
Machinery,
What are those fixed assets? Plant and machinery, furniture and fixtures, vehicles, computers,
furniture.
electronics, software, okay, tools and dies, land, okay, again it's categorized into freehold land, leasehold land, if it is building, categories of building, whether it's factory, warehouse, stores, right? All these are your fixed. Majority, if you go to any crop company, they are having not more than 25 to 30. But still, I have given a range of 100. This is just an example. If they say, no, will you please make it 500? Okay, it's your duty is just to make it from 2 lakh to 2 lakh 500. That means, see, if you have taken 6 characters, that means total you are having 2 lakh to 3 lakhs, right? The difference between 2 to 3 is 1 lakh. That means you can create 1 lakh account in asset category. Out of that 1 lakh, you have given that 100 to fixed assets. Now the next group is current assets. So how you are going to start this? 200, 101. Why? Because up to 100 fixed assets. Is it clear? Up to 100 fixed assets.
Yes, sir.
Now from 101 to 200 is for current assets. Now what are the current asset categories? The most common current asset what you have seen in balance sheet is cash, bank, sundry debtor, closing stock. Right? Other than this, some other special categories of our current assets based on requirement which they want to display. Then also you got 100 accounts. How many accounts you can create under current asset as per this? 100. Got it?
90.
Now
190.
the other asset. Other assets. Now other assets are 200, 201,
201,
200.
300.
Now other assets, advances, prepaid expenses, all those, belongs to the category of other assets. Now what I did, if it is 6 character in length, this is how you can configure your assets. Why? Your CD 2. Is it clear now? Now, what if it is 7? Add 10 here and 10 here. What if it is 10? How you can configure 10? Take down 10 characters. Is it clear? Or now what will be the 2? 2, 6 zeros and 1 double. Now, what if client is requesting or client is demanding or client is having a wish to keep this gap for 500? It's okay. Their choice. 2 lakh 500. So that means all my fixed assets will be created under this range.
Between 2 lakhs.
Now what will be the code? What will be the code? Suppose if I am creating a building. Okay. Suppose I am creating a building. What will be the GL number for building? 2 lakh. This is used for creating a building.
Buildings.
Got it or not? Okay. Now he want to create a machinery. Then 2 lakh 1
2
building
lakh
machine. I want to create furniture and fixtures. 2 lakh 2. Want to create vehicles? 2 lakh 3. Want to create electronics? 2 lakh 4. Want to create tools? 2 lakh 5. Any questions? I hope it is clear now. Okay. So now moving further to liability. So first one, long-term liability. LTL. Now how you going to start? 1 lakh 2? 1 lakh 100. I've simply kept 100 so that it will be easy for you guys to identify. Now short-term liability. You're about to start
1 lakh
from
102, 101
101,
200,
200. Other liabilities, the unpaid expenses.
1
Then
200,
starting with
1 lakh 202,
201,
300.
201. Don't forget that 200 till 200 are used for short-term liability. Remember. Now, the income. 3 lakh. Before that income, what we'll do, we'll go for DI, that is direct income. 3 lakh to 3 lakh 100.
100.
Got it? Now, what are the direct income? Mostly sales, right? Which gives directly revenue, right? Now, the categories of sales, how many types of sales? I don't tell you that, the direct sale, indirect sale. That means from front door and back door, or what? What do you mean by direct sale and indirect sale? Malayali?
Any means is selling directly to
ఊకే చెప్తున్నా లేకపోతే కన్ఫర్మ్ ఉందా వాట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అని? ఎస్, ఎనీ అదర్ ఒపీనియన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ద రూమ్? రాజేష్, హరి, స్వరూప్, సుజిత్.
No, sir, not getting idea.
Now don't tell me Amazon and Flipkart. Sorry to say that. People used to say, see, they are very.
Sir, in direct sales only two parties will be present. Sir, in indirect sales many mediators will be present.
Please slowly. Was this right?
Sir, in indirect sales there will be many mediators present. In direct sales there will be only one end customer. One on one. Only two parties in direct sales.
Okay. This is how you create sales ledger in any account. Have you seen this? See, the most practiced categories of sales is domestic sales, foreign sales, or you can call it as national sales, local sales, international sales. Okay. Factory sales, depot sales, sales with bond, sales without bond, sales with letter of understanding, deemed sales. These are the categories of sales mostly used in international business, national and international. Is it clear? If the worst case, like domestic and foreign, at least you have heard about this. So, if this is the requirement, don't you think 100 is more than enough? If they are asking to create 500, then you know what to do. Nothing. Now, indirect income. Indirect income category, starting from that 3 lakh, 101, 200. Is it clear? That means you can create 100 ledgers for indirect income. Clear? This is how you can create all this. Now moving further for expenses. Direct expense, DE, start with 4 lakh to 4 lakh 100. Okay. Now the indirect expenses. RE. Let's start with 4 lakh 101 to 4 lakh 200. All those indirect expenses like rent, service, conveyance, petrol expenses, office expenses, transportation, traveling, right, postage, stationery, all those categories come under this. Now, I have used only 100. Now here, your client may say, we have head full of expenses. Why don't you give a range of 1,000? So what if it is the 1,000 range? What will be the series? Are you going to enhance the code? I mean length. Are you going to? Do you think the enhancement of code is necessary, or you just need to, enhance your range? Instead of 100, what I'm doing, I will take it as Got it? Then I'll make it up to 2000. This means what all indirect ledgers I'm about to create. Suppose now if 1000 expenses is desired or expected from the manager, then how will you create rent account? Now this is my rent. Okay. What will be the salary? This will be my salary. Okay. Now what will be my petrol expenses or office expenses?
40103.
Yes. Again, here is also a big debate is there when you start for GL, then I'll have some different, point of discussion. Don't worry about it. But this is what I have explained you guys here. Okay, please remember this. Now you know all these decisions of 6 characters. This is how you can justify at the time of creation of account books. Now let me give you an hierarchy, how it is linked. Let me have another page. Now how this hierarchy is connected. First is your chart of accounts. Under chart of accounts, you have to create account groups. Under account groups, you have to create ledgers. Got it? Here my chart of account is RTL. Under that, my group is indirect expenses. As an example, I am taking up only one. Now under this, I am creating ledgers. What's that? Are you getting it? Now, coming to my first point, I asked you a question, like, the chart of accounts. Now, will you still say that this is list of accounts?
Yes, sir.
Does this activity concern the list? No, right? This is just a name which we have given to a structure of account. Under this, there is an account group. Under that account group, you have list of ledgers, correct? Now that list of ledgers answer is applicable here, not here. Is it clear? This is what the understanding difference. This is what the difference of theory and reality. Yes, any confusions here or any questions here?
No, sir.
Right? Clear, right?
Yes.
Please remember this, and when you are preparing a document on your and after listening to this recording, make sure that these examples must be on your recording. Really, this helps you a lot. Now, this is an example of 6 characters. Do you have any trouble with 10 characters, 7 character or 8 character? Do you have any problem with 10 character or 7 character when it comes to a client requirement?
No.
Suppose this client,
No, sir.
RTL, is having a requirement of 10 character of code.
You can proceed, sir. As
How
per
will,
the
how, will, how, how,
Yeah.
how will you take a stand on this? See, how the requirement comes up according to a SAP methodology. Everything is discussed in project preparation phase in workshop. Like the day one what we have seen. Okay? So in that workshop, when they are preparing a document, whether it is as is or 2D or GAP or business blueprint, when they finalize business blueprint, they will mention that these are the list of ledgers. This type of accounting is followed in our company for the past 10 years, 20 years. Okay. If it is, not code-based accounting, codeless accounting, then it's your turn. You have to advise him what will be the best solution, whether it is 6 character or 10 character. See, honestly speaking, that 10 character is nowhere required account global. Simply, each and every group, if they are having hardly 200 accounts or 500 or 1000 accounts, why you need to go for 10 characters? See, what do you Do you understand the meaning of 10 characters? Suppose if I am creating one ledger, that means all these gaps, I need these many accounts you are having. Do you know how many crores are these? Crores and crores of accounts. What you are planning with? Are you trying to prepare 5 kilometer balance sheet or 2 kilometer trial balance? No, right? I don't know why people go, but still foreign clients will, you know, keep a requirement to go for 10 characters. When we go for, general ledger module, I will show you these examples. I'll show you this in a system that every foreign client is, looking for. Majority of them, I'm not saying everybody, okay, sorry to say that, but majority of them will come forward to, sir, will you please create 10 characters. Why? Because future lo pani vastayi maaku. Okay? In future we will use that. Do you know how that account looks like? Suppose, imagine how many characters are this? 401001, right? Let me use this page not to disturb that correct activity. Suppose 10 characters I have selected in my chart of accounts for length of 0. Now, what's my ledger here? Only 6, right? So, how system presents this ledger is first 4 characters as 0. Then, now this is one general ledger. Now it's quite comfortable for us to identify. Oh, it's starting from 401001. Imagine you are sitting to check the trial balance or list of transactions for somewhere around 3000 ledgers. Do you think it is quite comfortable for you to identify your ledger code? Imagine that they said that, only 100 accounts are there. Now what? How it looks like? Imagine they have taken 3 characters. Okay. Taken 10, but at the time of creation they have taken only 3 characters. How it looks like? Now, some other account, what we see, I have seen this with my eyes and I have suggested them. Do you really think that this is going to work with you in audit or in inspection? Sometimes what happens? This and the other are. Now one is 6 character, another one is 5 character, another one is 3 character. Now when it comes to an alignment, it goes like a lifeline of EC. Sorry to say that, but these are the blunder mistakes which we usually do when we sit in front of the client to suggest them the best solution. Is it clear now? So I hope you don't have any problem with taking any requirement, whether it is 10 or 8 or 7 or 6. You are fit to create that as an account. Will you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any confusion? Hurry for yes.
So I have one doubt here. So if it is going to 10 digits, we can't, ask client to reduce less than 6.
If it is required, then go for it. If it is not required, don't suggest them. See, even this 6 character what I have taken, 1 lakh category was. Do you think that 1 lakh asset, have you seen that one? Have you seen any balance sheet which presents 1 lakh ledgers? Even a Reliance group balance sheet comes under airport side. Are you aware of it? What you are thinking that, they need a dot matrix printer to print their balance sheet, or, they need an AutoCAD printer to print the balance sheet. Why? Because it's just like a newspaper. No, right. I hope you understood what I'm saying. These is kind of example. You people are experienced. Have you seen any such reports other than airport side? No, right. So they will try to minimize this. So here this character represents that I have given a choice to your client that 1 lakh account. Why? Because from 2 to 3 or 1 to 2, each series difference is 1 lakh. If it is 6 characters. If it is less than 6, 5, 10,000. 10,000 accounts has a huge, stakes to cover up the entire requirement of your organization. Any other questions? Clear, right?
Yes, it's
Okay.
clear.
Okay. Now the next is regeneration. See, this step is a technical step which we have to configure. The importance of this step is it will help you to transfer your balances from one financial year to another financial year. Basically, this is a configuration which supports you in year-end activity. What is the meaning of year-end activity? You know that closing of books. What does it mean?
Yes.
You have to prepare a balance sheet and carry forward the balances in opening balance sheet. Correct? Remember,
Yeah.
when you are trying to close your books in SAP, if this setting, what I'm saying is regeneration account, is absent or not yet done by your consultant, failing of this configuration will be a failure of closing of you. The system will stop you to carry forward your general ledger balance. I hope you got it. So it's a one-time activity and it supports your closing activity. Okay? Yeah, just I write down 2 or 3 lines, few words. Okay. Transfer of balances from one year. See here financial year is known as the term fiscal year in SAP. Remember. This. 2021. Okay? Yeah. That's a technical activity. That's what this retail earnings belongs to. Now moving further to this tolerance. The word tolerance is used for limits. Limits. Remember this tolerance is used for limits for forces. Okay. Limits. Now here the example of limits is, organization hierarchy. A lot of people are working, starting with executives, okay, associates, junior accountant, senior accountant, the regional finance controller, zonal finance controller, accounts officers, chief financial officers, director of finance, vice president of finance. Do you think that all of these guys are having same limits? So every day we used to get calls for personal loans, right? When they call you say, what's your salary? You say somewhere around 6 lakhs or 8 lakhs. Oh sir, you are eligible for 20 lakhs. Within paperless process, you will get approval within a day, 24 hours of complete. That means that executive will take care of everything, whatever paperwork, whatever procedures, signatures, everything will be his responsibility. Got it? As an executive. Now the moment the same call is received by a person who is willing to take 2 crores loan. How much? Earlier it was only 20 lakhs. Now the customer demand, customer requirement is for 2 crores or 10 crores. What do you think? Is it executive's responsibility now? Yes, everybody. I hope you are getting this. Now, do you think that he will approve that 10 crores? No. This is beyond his limits. So definitely he will put this huge requirement to some seniors. Why? Because who are taking the responsibility to look ups and downs, positive and negative side, paperwork, okay, legal terms and conditions. Then they will approve whether this guy is a fraudster or not, whether this guy is a genuine or not. Now, Bit more investigations is done from a senior level. Why? Because the requirement is big. So when it comes to tolerance group, especially setting up some limits for general ledger or setting up limits for employees, that means as an executive, as an associate accountant or junior accountant, his limit, you know, the best example is the petty cashier. Daily he used to maintain 10 to 15,000 cash. Now if some requirement is for 1 lakh or 2 lakh, do you think that petty cashier will take care of 2 lakh expenses per day? No. So here tolerance group is nothing but we are setting up an upper posting procedure for limits for upper posting procedure. Okay, posting limits. Now here I have an executive whose limit is to post only $1,000. Okay, this is my executive's limit. Now a team lead or somewhere team lead is having $5,000. Okay. Now the manager. Do you think the same? Now above $5,000, somewhere up to $50,000 will be taken care by manager. If above $50,000, then general managers, then board of directors will jump in. Why? Because it's a big sum, right? So by using these two settings, you can set limit of posting either to a general ledger account or employees. Better not to keep limits here, but to keep limits to the employees. What happens when you set these limits, and these limits must be assigned when you create tolerance group? This tolerance group must be assigned to the user. Now who is the user? SAP user. Like I have login through user ID 304 or 305, or my user ID for SAP is Anwar@Siemens. Okay. Now that means when I log in as Anwar@Siemens, then I'll be somewhere, given an authority to work on $5,000 or $50,000. Right? But when the same login is done by this executive and he got a transaction to be recorded in SAP, which is $1,500. Do you think users will post in that? No. No, he can't post that. Why? Because system will stop him because of this tolerance limit. Is it clear now? So based on limits, user can post the data. And it's quite important to post the transaction. See, sometimes it may happen, right? Why? Because some transactions which are related to credit side, suppose a user is posting an invoice of $1 lakh or $10,000 or $50,000. Maybe the customer is not loyal towards payment, or customer is a fraudster. Customer is an insolvent. Okay, he failed multiple times to pay the amount after commitments. Now will you be still interested to give the credit to such credit? No. Right? So tolerances is maintained at employee level to control the users to quote such transactions which are not under their limits. The best example of limits, I have set it up here based on designations. Now when I'm writing it as an executive, is that do you have only one executive? No, you have a team of 5,000 to 10,000 executives in a company. When I'm taking a limit of TL, that is team lead, okay, do you have only one team lead? No, you may have dozens of team leads working across India or the outside countries, right? When I'm talking about manager, you don't have a single manager, right? So this is how you can set the tolerances for employees. See, setting up tolerances at DL is okay, having an option to set it, but don't set this. Why? Because if you set 10,000, then what happens? That will be a problem. Sometimes 10,000 55 paisa, 10,000 25 paisa. Because of that, 25 paisa system will not accept this transaction. So that's the reason. If still your client is, insisting you to keep these limits, how to keep that, when it comes into picture, I'll let you know on Monday. Okay. So these are all those points which you have to consider in SAP for general ledger structure, basically your second foundation pillar. Okay. So these are an explanation of your general ledger structure points. If any confusion or questions or queries, you are free to raise your questions now. I'm done with general ledger points. Yes, any questions? Queries?
Has started.
Everything is on the screen.